Like I just saw Black Adam. I don't know if you.
I saw it this weekend.
Right.
Josh was kind enough, which I haven't told what happened to me yet, but even after being injured, I needed rescuing, and Josh swept me away in his Camaro this weekend to see Black Adam. So
I guess you like the mid-credit scene.
I did. I enjoyed the whole movie.
Yeah.
I thought it was. I mean, they did really good. So Black Adam. I don't know how familiar you are with the comic books. I'm obviously very familiar because in Superman's world, one of his only other weaknesses besides kryptonite is magic. His powers are susceptible to magic. So they played that up so that anytime he faced Captain Marvel, Shazam, he's really the original Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel had an advantage because he had magic and he was in some way stronger than Superman. Well, Black Adam was kind of a lower tier villain. In the last few years, they've really tried to build up some in strength because if you had he's basically an evil Captain Marvel. If you have an evil Captain Marvel that's got magical powers, arguably could supplant Superman. So, but I thought they did a great job with it. I enjoyed it. What did you think?
Oh, I loved it. I really liked Dr. Fate.
Me too. Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah, and I thought they did justice with bringing him to the big screen. I'm glad. I think Hawkman was in Titans, but I'm glad. I'm not sure, but I'm glad they made Hawkman look like a badass. Well,
in the TV, I don't remember Titans. I can't remember if he was in that, but he was in the. What was the one that had the big team DC on the WB?
The Arrowverse.
Yeah, it was in the Arrowverse. There was the
Legends of Tomorrow.
Legends of Tomorrow. He was in that because it had him, and then the Hawk Girl was in it. But yeah, I thought. I mean, they did as well as they could with. I always thought that character was kind of, anyway, Hawkman, even in the comic books. And then there's two different backstories I think on them. One backstory is they're basically kind of like Green Lanterns. They're like space police type thing.
Yeah.
And then there's another backstory where they're like from an Egyptian god or something, and they've been cursed or something like that, and he's always rejuvenated or reincarnated as somebody else. I don't know. That's again, they're kind of like, I always think this is interesting. Marvel took the Guardians of the Galaxy as an example, which were really like a C-level superhero team. Like very few people even knew who they were, and did so well with the film. I mean, they rivaled the Avengers now, and so. I think in that movie, in Black Adam, they took some CD level DC superheroes and have maybe elevated people interested in them more so than they would have been in the comic books.
Yeah.
So I was telling Josh, one of the things that frustrates me is I was watching the part where they had, and not to spoil anything, but there's a part where he's got like an estate and their jet comes up and I'm like, people are going to say, oh, they're copying X-Men, but this all predates X-Men. Like, DC's universe with a lot of those factors were there before the X-Men, but because on the movie, they saw it in X-Men first, people are like, they're copying Marvel.
Yeah, I saw where somebody said, hey, and before I could even comment, they were like, Dr. Fate sure looks a lot like Doctor Strange. Way to copy DC. And I'm like, well, Dr. Fate was like 24 years or something before Doctor Strange. But speaking of, we were talking about Predator earlier. Did you like Prey?
I did. I actually thought it was one of the best sequels to the whole Predator in the Predator franchise.
It's my second favorite.
Yeah. Which first favorite? The original?
The original.
Yeah. I liked it a lot. I rewatched. Matter of fact, after I watched that, I went back and watched the two of the most recent sequels they did.
Predators.
And
then The Predator.
And the Predator's Requiem or whichever one it was.
Alien versus Predator Requiem.
That one. I watched Alien, and there was two of those. There was Aliens versus Predator, I think the first one, and there's a second one.
Aliens versus Predator Requiem is part 2.
Yeah. So, I mean, and Predators is good. But yeah, no, Prey is very good. What'd you think? Like it?
I love it. I think I've watched it 5 times.
Do you consider the Predator movies sci-fi or horror movies?
Sci-fi horror. I mean, it's Predator's a bloody movie.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a gory movie, and and when you go to horror conventions, there's always somebody, dressed as the Predator.